Thank you, Manoj, for the video. So thank you very much for telling us about your forgotten nation, which we're not forgetting. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you everyone for having us here. My name is Adorina, and this is my sister Arbella. We will be presenting this presentation for you. A little bit about myself. I'm Assyrian. I was born in Iran. I came here. I studied in biology undergrad. I went to microbiology master's degree, and I went to pharmacy, school of pharmacy. We both actually went, so both of us are studying the same thing. So I'm not really in history major, but I do want to share with you my nationality and my history. So we're going to talk about the forgotten nation, Assyrian history, the language, the genocide that happened, and diaspora. And actually this is our flag on the right upper corner. So who are Assyrians? So Assyrians were Semitic speaking people under the Mesopotamian kingdom. So Mesopotamian Empire was divided into three: Sumerians, Assyrians, and Babylonians. And Babylonians and Assyrians later became Akkadian Empire, so they're very closely related. So Assyria was located in the land between two rivers. I'm pretty sure it's hard to see, but it's the river of Tigris and Euphrates. It's located in Upper Mesopotamia, the same region as known today as northern Iraq, northern Syria, northwest Iran, and southwest Turkey. The capital city of Assyria was Ashur in 1365 BC. It was later known as Nineveh. Well, Nineveh was a different location, so they moved it to Nineveh. Assyrian history was divided into three periods. The Old Assyria, which was 2000 to 1763 BC. So Assyria just started as a small old city of Ashur, and in Middle Assyrians they expanded the city, they grew and became states and regional empire. Assyrians became competitive with Egypt and took over Hades and Mitanni. And in Neo-Assyrian period in 911 to 610 BCE, Assyrians were very established architecturally, artistically, culturally, and linguistically. And Assyrians were transformed through the conquest that they did, and they became more cosmopolitan people. So Assyrians were known for the things that they discovered. They were the world's earliest civilization. They established Hammurabi codes of law from Babylonian. They were known for the warfare, and they had good technique for battles. Assyrians were the first to use iron to make weapons, and that gave them a distinct advantage over their enemy. They were the first to develop writing system on a clay tablet, and they were the first to establish the library. It's called Ashurbanipal Library. And they were good in math and astronomy, so they invented the longitude and latitude and degree circle. So Assyrian kingdom had a lot of falls and rise. So majorly I divided into three. The first rise and fall was under the rule of Shamshi Adad, the ruler of Assyrian Empire. During his rule, the Assyrian Empire was expanded and prospered. He brought much wealth and health to his people, but after he died, there was a civil war that started, and the civil war for the fight after the throne. That was the first fall. The second fall, or rise and fall, happened during Tiglath-Pileser III, that revolutionized Assyrian Empire. There were new improved laws and for trades that he came up with. And his warfare tactic, he took over Babylon, Cyprus, Israel, Greece, Persia, and others. So he conquered a lot of area, and with his death, again, Assyrian Empire fell. but it did rise again after him. This happened, the three most popular kings happened during the Neo-Assyrian time, and that was the final rise and fall, and it never rise after that. So this happened during the Neo-Assyrian Empire. It reached its highest of civilization, progress, and power. The three popular kings during that time were King Sargon II, Sennacherib, Ashurbanipal. Actually, with Sennacherib, it's if you know the Bible, so it's mentioned in the Bible with Hezekiah, and that Sennacherib prison is actually shown in the picture. And on the prison, it states that Sennacherib surrendered Hezekiah and his army, and he was like a bird in a cage. So that shows the authenticity and validity of the Bible as well. And to the right of that picture, on that side, that's basically Ashurbanipal library, whatever remains of that, the tablets that they collected, and that's in British Museum. And this part actually shows the tablet, it shows the destruction of Nineveh. It's written on that tablet, and that's also in British Museum. So Assyrian, during the Neo-Assyrian time, controlled many territories. They started revolting. They took over a lot of areas, and those areas were starting a small civil war at the borders, territorial battles, and that exhausted the Assyrian army. And at the final battle with Babylonian and Medes, the Assyrian Empire was erased from the face of the earth.
Okay, hi everyone. This is like Assyrian language, so I have to teach you one thing at least. It's high in Assyrian, Shamalukhun. Okay, this is high in Assyrian. Okay, about Assyrian language, I have to say Assyrian language is very important for Assyrian people, and we've been keeping this language and then preserving this language for many years. I can say from 609 BCE, we did not have any king, but after that, for many years, we preserved this language into today, which is 2024. We are able to speak and to write and to read this language. So Assyrian language, the other name is Surit, and I put that one on that with the Syriac letter so you can see it. So the early form of this language was it was a Semitic language, but developed into the Aramaic language. Back then, we have like Mesopotamian regions that they have Babylonian and also Assyrian. They were speaking same language, which is called Akkadian language, but our Assyrian kings trying to be independent from them, so they start to be developing their own language, which was our Old Aramaic, and then it developed to Middle Aramaic, Eastern Middle Aramaic, and Northern Eastern Aramaic, which is Surit right now, that's called, and then that's the language that we are today speaking and writing it. So native speakers around the world is 800,000 in 2020. And this region mostly is in northern western Iran, northern Iraq, and northern Syria, and southern Turkey, and Lebanon, and Armenia we have people, but also we are all over the world, like global diaspora. So our language is not the official language in the world, but in 2005, due to the high population of Assyrian in Iraq, the Constitution of Iraq recognized the Surit, or our language, as one of the official language. So as other many languages, we have different dialects. So we have around approximately 30 of them, but the most common one is the Christian Armeno-Aramaic, the one that we are speaking right now, that's the one, and the most people reside in Iran. And then the other one is in Iraq. We have different dialects, which is Jilu, Tayari, and Barbari. And then Barbari is one of that most of singers are from Barbaris. So for the written part of it, we are writing from right to left, and it uses different version of the Syriac alphabet. We have 3 different ones. We have Setro, which was in Old Assyrian, and we have Estrangula, sorry, that was the Middle Assyrian, and today we're using Matnahaya Syriac alphabet. It's easiest one of all, and it's easy to read and write. I'm sorry. And then by the 13th century, we were able to translate the Bible formally into Syriac, which is called Peshtun. And then one of the religious leader, Ephraim, was able to collect all the poetry and all the classical Syriac language, which was due to the theology and stuff like that. He was able to collect them. And here you can see the Syriac alphabet of Estrangula, which was on the Middle Assyria. And then in the next picture, you see the both of them. On the right-hand side is the one that we are using right now, and the easiest one. And here you see the pictures of the 18th century of the Bible that was translated into Syriac alphabet, same thing with 11th century as well. And then this is the most recent one, it's from 1799, and it's a classic Syriac written, and it's with the Matnahaya version of Syriac. Unfortunately, our Assyrian language is considered definitely in danger by the UNESCO and the Atlas of the World Language in 2010. And you can see the yellow part that it says definitely in danger, but that was in 2010, but I'm not sure right now what it is. And this because due to the lack of central central institution, and also new generation that migrated to different countries and adopting cultures and languages, and they are not able to speak the native language anymore. So that's why our language is going to that category, and then it's going, I'm not sure it will go at the end to the extinct part or not, but we are trying today with the Zoom and with classes to teach our younger generation to be able to write and read this language, because this is a really old language and we want to keep it.
So a little bit about Assyrians today. So Assyrians today are kind of categorized into 3, Syriac, Chaldeans, and Arameans, but they're all Assyrians. Assyrians, along with the Greeks and Armenians, were the first group of people to convert to Christianity. And unfortunately, because of emergence after the fall of Assyria around 650 BC, the Islamic State started to occupy the homeland of Assyrian, and that resulted in disbursement and diaspora. So Assyrian resisted the conversion to Islam and to they wanted to keep their Christianity and their ethnic and cultural background. So they had severely were slaughtered because of that, and many of the Christians over there, because of their Christianity, they were banned from building churches, from building their schools, from participating in some careers, as it was banned by the Islamic nation. But fortunately, Assyrians were not stopped from preaching the gospel, and today we know that they even preach the gospel to churches in India and Mongolia and China. And you can see some of the churches in India, actually, they do the liturgy in Assyrian. So Assyrians suffered multiple religious motivated massacres and violent assault at the hands of Arabs, Turks, and Kurds. And so we're going to talk a little bit about Assyrian genocide. The first genocide was called Holy War, in that 10,000 Assyrians were killed by Kurdish under the Badr Khan Bey. And then the second one was Ottoman Sultan Abdul Hamid, where he killed thousands of Christians. And in one of the massacres, actually the woman, Turk woman, came into the churches and cathedral and killed a Assyrian woman and children who were in the church and in those cathedrals trying to hide themselves. Third one, there was a lot, but these are the main one that I'm talking about. The Ottoman Christian genocide, which was the biggest one that happened in 1915 and 1923. 750,000 Assyrians died, along with Greeks and Armenian. It was the Christian genocide by Ottoman Turk Empire. And their goal was to destroy all the Christian communities in the Ottoman Empire, and which to some point they succeeded. So Christian element was slowly to disappear, either by apostasy, immigration, or massacre. So the Assyrians were dispersed because of this religious slaughter and genocide to other countries. Another Assyrian genocide, which we're more familiar with, was happened in August 1st, 2004, more recent one. 5 churches were bombed in Iraq. Direct violence against the Syrian Christian populated had begun there. The other one was the ISIS genocide 2014. In like few days, 10,000 of the Christians died and they were killed. And they enslaved the women and children, abducted for the religious and ethnic cleansing. And United Nations, United States considered ISIS, after all, a genocide against Christianity. And so since 2003, the Assyrian population in Iraq reduced greatly from 1.5 billion to less than 120,000 today in Iraq. So they all migrated because of the Christian background that they had and because of the genocide. And today we have Syrian civil war over there. 2011 started until the present time. Assyrians in 33 villages on Kabul River became victims of killing and abduction. So virtually all of them flee to Europe, Austria, and US, and none of them returned back to the homeland. Some of the villages in Iraq, mostly in Nineveh Plain, they still have Assyrians living there. In Iran, mostly Ormi have Assyrians living in there. Nineveh Plain, some of the villages there are called Karkush, or Al-Kush, or Baghdada. They still have occupancy of Assyrian. But there's no Assyrian left in Hakkari, which is another village that was basically a lot of genocide happening there as well. So this takes us to the diaspora. So Assyrian diaspora happened, and what is diaspora? There's so many scholars that describe it, that would give us a definition of that. James Clifford state diaspora defined itself against the nation state, while the logic of the nation state was to external culture unity to a national population. Saftran defines diaspora as a minority community sharing a number of features, a history of dispersal, myth or memories of homeland, and desire for eventual return, ongoing support of the homeland, and collective idea revolving this relationship. And another scholar described as living in one place for maintaining relation with the homeland. So Assyrian migrated to other countries, and as a result of the religious freedom, we can see in the United States there's 600,000 Assyrian living, Sweden 150,000, Germany 100,000, Australia 61,000. There are other regions that have Assyrian living, but these were the main one that they have higher population of Assyrian living there. So the result of this Assyrian diaspora is the language. A lot of Assyrians are forgetting how to speak or how to write the language. So language is a symbol of ethnic identity and a tool in the community maintenance. It's the mother tongue that clearly distinguishes us. One of the adaptive traits or consequences of diaspora is code switching. So they incorporate 2 or more words of foreign language into Assyrian, so it both in written or oral. Since we don't have, there's no Assyrian state, or we don't have a central institute or no location where the Assyrian is the official language, so it's been hard to keep the language. And diaspora challenges how to best sustain the language culture in the modern world. So again, we don't have a lack, there is a lack of central planning and institution, and this is causing danger, it's dangerous to the Syrian community because we're getting close to extinction. So the central entities or organization churches remain autonomous, they lack cooperation, not working together, and there's no major force, no institution that plan for the whole, or no forces that coerce or entice or influence. So what are the forces that can unite Assyrians? So some of the forces that we can think is that can bring the people together, either there's like social gathering. A lot of churches have put like language learning in their activities for the Syrian to keep the language and their culture. And churches from strong institutions, not only they're an institution of faith, but also a place where a Syrian can gather and keep their culture and language. So Assyrian diaspora caused a lot of people in other countries, Assyrian living in other countries, to come up with ideas to keep their Assyrian culture. So Austria produced Assyrian schools, Christian schools, that can teach Assyrian culture and language in there. We have Chaldean Museum in Detroit. It shows the creation of cultural material that brings people together. We have memorial for Assyrian genocide, and as you can see in the picture, it shows the cultural artistic production. And this one in the picture is actually located in Greece. So we have a lot of Assyrian genocide memorials, one in Chicago, Greece, Armenia, and that can bring the Assyrian together in sorrow and remembrance. So the most dangerous force against for this Assyrian diaspora is the force of indifference that can lead to greater assimilation of the Syrian and diaspora. So today we're trying to come up with ways that Assyrian can keep their culture, keep their language. It's an old language, and it's good to be kept, even though a lot of children, a lot of young people are still forgetting how to, because there's no use for it. They're forgetting how to write and read it. I want to share with you one of the Syrian experience in Chicago. This is from one of the Syrians who migrated from Iraq. He went to Chicago and he wrote this prayer. It's called A Very Short Story, A Very Long Journey. I want to read this prayer for you. Our Father who is in heaven, your name be kept holy. Our kingdom be abandoned for yours. We lost our home on earth to gain one in heaven, and our nation was dispersed throughout all the earth. We abandoned our language for the language of your Son. We learned so many languages, though no one learned ours. Do not let us be scattered, deliver us from extinction. Give us the strength and wisdom to unite once again, so that along with our children and our children's children, we will worship and glorify you in the language that your Holy Son spoke forever and ever. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. So, which of the languages do you use for the service here? You've mentioned 3 living Assyrian languages.
Yeah. So which one was the service? What was it?
Which do you conduct the service in?
Oh, the one, it was from Neo-Aramaic in Urmi. Christian Urmi Neo-Aramaic. That's the one we did.
And is that the one most of the
That's the
people
mostly
living here?
people reside in Iran. The people that came from Iran, those people are speaking that language. But if they people coming from Iraq, is different one. But we can understand them. Different dialect, but different. It's the same language. Still.
More like different accent.
Different accents. Yeah.
Okay. And
Is this language the same language that Jesus Christ himself?
Yes.
Yes.
Aramaic.
Yeah.
how do you feel to speak the same language as Jesus Christ? It must be special.
It's an honor. Yeah, I think it's an honor.
Are there any Aramaic writings from the 1st century that you can use? Because most of it was translated, but do you have
Like our own, like
Aramaic writings from the 1st century?
I think it's just evolved a lot. So they have like Syriac alphabet, but those Syriac alphabet we are no longer able to read them from 1st century.